Once again, welcome to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce our today's speaker, Her Grace Kirtida Sundari Mataji. And Mataji will be enlightening us by walking us through Srimad Bhagavatam 4.11.32 onwards. So thank you so much, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for giving us your valuable time and association this morning. I would like to hand over the call to you now. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Lakshmi Mataji, for warmly welcoming everybody in this conference call. And thank you, everyone, for joining and giving your valuable association today. So, we'll begin with Srimad Bhagavatam today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So we are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 11, and entitled Swayambhu Manu advises Dhruva Maharaj, and today we'll read text number 32. Yeno pashatat purushal loka udvijate drisham na buddhas tatvasam gachet ichhana bhayam atmanaha. Translation: a person who desires liberation from this material world should not fall under the control of anger, because when bewildered by anger, one becomes a source of dread for all others. Purport: a devotee or saintly person should not be dreadful to others, nor should anyone be a source of dread to him. If one treats others with non-enmity, then no one will become his enemy. There is the example, however, of Jesus Christ, who had enemies and they crucified him. The demoniac are always present, and they find fault even in saintly persons. But a saintly person never becomes angry, even if there is very great provocation. Om Jnanatinirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Vaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivat Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nityananda Vatendu Vasudha Prana Vallabha Chanavi Jivati Pati Krishna Prema Prada Prabhu Padmavati Sata Shriman Sachi Sandavan Puja Bhavo Mat Jagatrata Rakta Gaura Kalevara नमो नमो अनिरुद्धाय ऋषिकेशेन्द्रियात्मने नमः परमहंसाय पूर्णाय निवृतात्मने स्वर्गपर्वद्वाराय नित्यं सुचिसदे नमः नमो हिरण्याय वीराय चातुर्होत्राय शान्तवे. So, Hare Krishna, I welcome you all once again. So, before I start my class, I just seek blessings and prayers from all of you. I know quite a senior people which are spiritually and of course materially elder to me. So kindly shower your blessings onto me so that I may speak something relevant on this most esoteric subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam. So kindly shower your blessings and prayers on me. I just bow down to each and every one of you. Please accept my humble obeisances. Svancha kalpataruvascha kripa sindhuvaeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Okay, so before I start again, I'll say that whatever I'll be saying is just like a parrot repeating, have no realizations as such, but still accepted as a service. I'll try to continue to whatever limited knowledge I have. So in this verse, as we all know, that this chapter being entitled that Swayambhu Manu, he is advising Dhruva Maharaj, and we quite read there. I just want to set up a context that Dhruva Maharaj was angry, and only one of the Yaksha has killed his brother Uttama, but still he was killing all the Yakshasas. And to this, Swayambhu Manu, he is advising Dhruva Maharaj that, what are you doing it? Kindly stop this. This is not an action of a devotee. And the verse that we read today, he is telling that control your anger. The translation says that a person who desires liberation from this material world should not fall under the control of anger, because when bewildered by anger, one becomes a source of dread for all others. So he is stressing on this point to Dhruva Maharaj that kindly give up your anger. You should not be angry. And in the previous, few verses also, Manu was saying, Swayambhu Manu, he was saying that why are you getting engaged in unnecessary anger? After all, getting angry is the path to hellish life. And we all know in Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says, Trividyam narakshadhyam dvaram nashanam atmanah kama krodhas tata lobhas tasmat etatrayam tajet. What he's saying, that there are 3 gates leading to this hell. And that's what even Swayambhu Manu is saying, that this anger which you are just having, this unnecessary anger, it is the path to the hellish life. And even Krishna says, the 3 gates which lead to the hell are lust, anger, and greed. And every sane man should give up these, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. So today we'll discuss, I know yesterday Keshavan Prabhu has discussed in length about how anger is and how we should try to control it, and it's an anartha that will lead us to hell. But still want to again stress up this point on anger. Again, I'll say that this class is basically for me, but let's continue with it. So, first of all, how to take up Srimad Bhagavatam. The Srimad Bhagavatam is not that once we have read it and there is a story coming up, okay, now we are in the section of Dhruva Maharaj, and we know the story of Dhruva, and then finally moving forward, coming back to the next. So this is not how we should hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Basically, there is a beautiful verse, Shrunvata Shraddhaya Nityam Grinnatascha Chetisam Kalena Atidirgena Bhagavan Vishate Hridi. So how Srimad Bhagavatam is to be heard? So Srimad Bhagavatam should be, first of all, it should be heard regularly, Nityam. And Swachestitam. Whatever we have heard, we should try to apply that knowledge in our own life. Right? Only then. It's not that just read it and then let it go. That is not the mood that we take Srimad Bhagavatam. It is that first we have to hear it and then apply that learning, that hearing, that knowledge in our own life. Then what will happen? Kalena na ati dirghena. Kalena, in future, in time, na ati dirghena means not very late, means in a very short time. What will you see? The Krishna will manifest in your heart. Bhagavan Vishate Hridi. So the point here is that we have to apply it. Now since Swayambhu Manu is simply, he is advising Dhruva Maharaj that control your anger. This is going to lead you to hellish life, right? So this thing is not just for Dhruva Maharaj, but it is for the readers. Dhruva Maharaj is a pure devotee. He is already destined to go to a Dhruva Loka. He is already destined to go to Krishna Loka, right? But all these instructions are for us, for the readers, so that we can imbibe it in our day-to-day life. So as now he is saying that you have to control your anger, we'll talk a little bit about anger. So we all know that there are 6 anarthas in our consciousness which always keep us away from Krishna. And what is that? Lust, anger, greed, pride, illusion, and envy. So anger is the most prominent one. No one in this world here is who doesn't get angry, right? You all must agree to this statement. Every one of us get angry by some or the other reason. There could be various reasons for our anger, but in a nutshell, everybody gets angry. But we fail to understand that where and how to use this anger, how to use this emotion. This anger is an emotion, right? So how to use it? So the 6 anarthas that we talk about, the lust, anger, greed, pride, illusion, and envy. So first of all, I'll just stress on this point that all of them can be dovetailed in Krishna's service, right? So first of all, there is an antidote for each and every. Like for lust, there is a love. For anger, there is compassion. For greed, there is satisfaction, right? For pride, it is humility. For illusion, there is a knowledge, right? So this is just the antidote. But still, all of them, all these anarthas can be used in can be dovetailed in Krishna's service. We know about lust. Even if we have lust, we can use it in Krishna's service. We know the example of Kubja, right? I'll not go in detail. I'll just touch upon this point and then we'll discuss more about anger. And then we know about pride. Yes, pride can also be dovetailed in Krishna's service. You can be proud of being Krishna's servant, right? Being Krishna's eternal servant, being Krishna's devotee. Then greed. Greed can also be used for Krishna's service. We can be greedy for Krishna's service, right? Anger, we know the example of Hanuman, how even he used this anger in Krishna's service. And then envy. Envy is the only thing which is N and V, 2 alphabets, right? N and V, which means no vacancy. This is the only anartha which cannot be accepted in the spiritual world or which cannot be dovetailed in Krishna's service. So envy is no vacancy. You have no vacancy in the spiritual world. Now, we all know this anger, which is a prominent anartha and which is possessed by each and every one of us. So anger is just 1 letter short of danger. So the next step of anger is danger. We should know that if we are getting angry on some of the other reasons, then the next step is that we are going to be in danger. To avoid this danger, we should not get angry. And even if we do, we should try to control and overcome it. We should basically be master of anger. It's not that let the anger master us. So we should not be the servant of anger. Rather, we should be the master of anger, because this is such an emotion, right? And this emotion can be used for a productive, for a useful, for a Krishna conscious way, for good purpose also, right? Now, if we see the nature, we'll get a beautiful example of how it is. So if we just sit beside a pond, and the pond is a very calm and composed, right? And you just go and throw a pebble in that pond, you know. So before the pond, when it is very quiet and when it is very calm, at that time you can see clearly inside the pond. You can see the fishes, right, if it's a clear pond. But if you throw a pebble in that pond, there are quite a few ripples that is being made, right? Now, when the ripples are being made, then what happens? We don't see the fishes because the pond peace is being disturbed, which means we don't see the things as they are present in the pond. So similarly, when somebody throws some provocative pebbles into the surface of our consciousness, then the ripples of agitation and frustration, irritation, of anger, they are formed. When they are formed, they don't let us see the things as they are, because now the ripples are formed. So we are not able to see the things as they are. And now, to see the things as they are, what we have to do? We have to let the things settle down. When the ripples get settled, only then we'll be able to see the things as they are. So that means when we are in an emotion of anger, we'll not be able to see the correct or the right things. That can only be seen if we let the anger go down and let there be a calm and a composed thing. Only then we'll be able to see, okay, this is what went wrong, and this is what that person said wrong or right, where I am wrong, where I am right. So in that way, we'll be able to see the things as they are. Right. So moving on, that this anger, it has both positive connotations and the negative connotation. Now, first of all, we'll see what are the positive connotations of anger. The first is about the self-reformation, right? Anger is good. Anger is good when we are self-reforming ourselves. For example, I'm not able to get up early in the morning to chant my rounds. 1 day passed, 2 days passed, week passed, month passed. And then we come in contact with a devotee, and the devotee said, no, you should get up early in the morning. Morning chanting is the best chanting. And then you say, oh, I don't know why I'm not getting. And then you feel frustrated. You feel irritated, right? And then you just challenge your own self that why is it not possible that I'm not getting up early in the morning? Tomorrow I will. And then you just go ahead with a full determination, and tomorrow you are able to get up early in the morning. So at that time, that anger is there, but that anger is for your self-reformation, that you want to reform yourself in a positive way. So in that way, this anger is good. The next is reform others for the benefit of others. Now, to elevate others from this mode of ignorance to the mode of passion, to the mode of goodness, if we get angry, then also this anger is good. To motivate others, to reform others. Right. Now, here we see the example of Lord Ramachandra. When he was supposed to cross the ocean to reach Lanka, he was just First of all, he was simply praying to Varun Dev. He was praying that give me the way to this ocean so that I can reach Lanka. But there was no answer from Varun Dev. And then she used his words still that please, I request you, please give me the way. Then also there was no answer. And then he said, see, if you don't give me way, he got really angry. Lord Ramachandra got really furious, and he said to the ocean that now if you are not going to give me the way, with my arrow I'll draw you up. And immediately Varun Dev came up. So just to bring Varun Dev from the mode of ignorance to the mode of passion, he used that anger. That anger he used to reform others. So we also have to understand it's not that we just go here and there and just try to reform others. No, we have to see the level of seniority of people. So only to those who are, we have that authority to bring them on to this mode of goodness from the mode of ignorance, we can use this little bit of anger. But again, the point is to elevate them, not to harm them in any way. Third example we see of Arjuna, and that's how Arjuna, he fought, but he fought to give pleasure to Krishna, to fulfill his desires, because we know the whole Bhagavad Gita was spoken because Arjuna gave up his Gandiva, his arrow, his bow, and I'm not going to fight. But after hearing the whole Bhagavad Gita, then Krishna says, now it's up to you. Still, the decision is yours, Arjuna. You want to fight or you don't want to fight. And then Arjuna says, just to please you, for your pleasure, as to your service, I dedicate this war to you. And so he fought. And while fighting, he was not humble. He was quite furious. He was angered. Only an angry Kshatriya can fight in the war, right? So he fought. And then also comes the example of Hanuman. We know that how Hanuman, he burned the whole Lanka, right, for the pleasure, as a service to Lord Ramachandra. But here also we see that this anger, it was a controlled anger for Hanuman. When he was burning the Lanka, he didn't burn Ashok Vatika, right, where Mother Sita was there. He didn't burn that and came to Lord Ramachandra with a gloomy face that, see, actually I found Sita, but I was so angry that I burned the whole Lanka, and including Ashok Vatika, and Mother Sita is also burned now. No, that's not the case. He was quite vigilant while whatever he was doing his job. He was angry, but his anger was in a controlled way. That's the positive anger, right? It was quite controlled. He didn't burn. He didn't do any harm to Ashok Vatika because he knew Mother Sita is there. He didn't burn the house of Vibhishan because he knew that he was chanting Lord Ram's name and he is a devotee of Ram, right? So he didn't burn that too. So this is how, though the anger was there, but it was in a controlled manner. The next comes when we see someone blaspheming the devotee or the spiritual master. Then also the anger that comes up is a good anger, is in a positive way. So when someone blasphemes the devotee, or when someone is blaspheming Krishna, or when someone is blaspheming the spiritual master, so then also it is allowed. Now here also we have to understand that if someone is blaspheming the spiritual master like Krishna, then also we have to understand and take into consideration the two things. The first thing is that if the person is envious in nature, then the person is not going to listen to whatever you say. That person will be so adamant that he will put on his own points and will always indulge into an argument with you. So when we see that a person is envious and is blaspheming the spiritual master or Krishna, then also the only way to serve that person is by staying away, not to show your anger in any manner, right? But if you see that a person is blaspheming, but out of ignorance, because a person doesn't know what he's talking about, but has a tinge of sincerity in it, then it is our duty to show again a controlled anger, and just like a soldier, explain to him that what he or she is talking about is wrong, but again, as per the directions by Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. We should, if we go against Guru and Sadhu and Shastra, that means again our anger is uncontrolled. But to be in a controlled anger, we have to explain that person, just as a soldier fights, right? So at that time, it's not our duty to be humble, but it's our duty to explain to that person as per Guru, Sadhu and Shastra and stop this blasphemy. The other example we say that about when a person blasphemes or to defeat Mayavadi, right? So there is one beautiful example that I like to quote about Srila Prabhupada. There was one devotee who came to Srila Prabhupada and complained that there is one devotee who is very quarrelsome. He always takes something or the other and, he just finds ways to quarrel with the devotee. So what to do? So Srila Prabhupada said, send him to Rishikesh and let him quarrel with all those impersonalists, all those people who are present there who are saying that God is impersonal. Let him go and fight. Let him go and quarrel with them. So this is how Prabhupada used his nature of quarrelsome, that he's always angry with everybody. So use this anger in Krishna's service. Let him go and explain that, no, God is personal. God is not impersonal. And another positive way that we can use this positive way of anger is to discipline our children. But again, we have to be very careful that we have to be in a controlled way, try to discipline the children. It's not that we just lose our anger and then we become the servant of our anger and we just beat our children left, right and center. So that should not be the mood. But to discipline the children, if sometimes we have to show our anger, that is okay. So that is the positive way of showing of anger. So what all we discuss is the positive connotation of anger. Now we'll go for the now we'll move forward about seeing the negative connotations of anger. So negative connotations of anger, we all know that it's of anartha, and it will lead us to hellish life if it is not used in a positive way. So there are many ways in which we can understand that anger is really not good. So first of all, I'll put up onto this point, bring into your notice that there are three people who normally get angry. Now, who are those three people? The first kind of people who really get angry, agitated very fast is the control freaks. Those people who think that I have the power to control everybody. When they have this kind of nature, they easily get angry. The next is the enjoyment maniacs. Those who want to see the enjoyment in everything, right? Even while studying, they want to see the enjoyment. Even while doing their 9-to-5 job, they want to see enjoyment. So even if some or the little stress or some provoking situation comes up, they are not able to handle because they want to see enjoyment in everything. So they easily get angry. Because this life is not a bed of roses. You cannot expect enjoyment every time in everything, right? And the third kind of people that get angry are perfectionists who want everything to be picture perfect. That can also be not possible. So, perfect is only Lord Krishna. Rest, we all are imperfect souls. But if those who are, try to be perfectionists and want to see the perfection in everything, even they get angry. Like I've seen a lot of mothers seeing that, Okay, this is not clean, this is not clean, this is not clean. Okay, it is not clean. Better to clean it rather shouting than showing up your unnecessary anger. Right? So these are the three kinds of people who are provoked, very easily they take up this anartha of anger in an uncontrolled way. So now we'll see that there are two types of anger. This is all we are talking about now, the negative connotation. So what are the two types of anger? First is the explosive anger, and the second is the impulsive anger. So first we'll talk about the explosive anger. What is this explosive anger is? So explosive anger is it's just like a bomb. When we shoot arrows of our harsh words, immediately, okay, some provoking situation comes up, immediately we feel frustrated, irritated, and we lose our mind. We don't know what are we speaking, and we just go on saying all kinds of harsh words, this, that, and we go on and on and on and on. So basically we'll kill others, right, with our harsh words. So there's a beautiful saying that it says that when an arrow is shooted, it kills once. But when these arrows of words are shooted, harsh words are shooted, then it kills the other person every second. Right? Every second it is. It is said that when the bullet is shot from the gun and the harsh words spoken from the mouth, they both leave the throat, right? Kill the person and never comes back. Right? We have seen so many times also that when we are angry, right, when we just throw these harsh words, this is kind of an explosive anger, uncontrolled anger. We just throw it away, just throw our words. But later, when the anger is settled down and we see that the situation was not that important, right? Why we have stressed it so much? We could have easily ignored it. We realize it, but then it is too late for us to realize. So we should see that this kind of anger, we should not try to take it up. Now the next is implosive anger. Implosive anger is that, yes, some frustration, some agitation, some provocation came up, but we don't speak. But that anger, that lava of anger burns inside us, right? We don't speak, we don't react to the situation at that time, but still that lava of anger is burning inside us. That is also very dangerous. We see an example to this is Dhritarashtra. He was burning in the lava of anger when he came to know that all his sons are dead, and finally all these 5 Pandavas are coming to see him, right? Though now the Pandavas were victorious, but he was so angry from inside, and he wanted to hug Bhima. But Krishna knows about it, that no, you are not supposed to hug him right now. Why? Because he knows that there is a lava burning inside Dhritarashtra. So he suggested to let Dhritarashtra hug this idol of Bhima, there was an iron idol made up of iron, whom Duryodhana used to practice. Right? So they allowed him to hug that iron model, this iron made up, the Bhima made up of that iron metal. So when Dhritarashtra, he hugged hugged Bhima, who is not actually Bhima, then what happened? He crushed that iron. So see, there was so much anger inside that he was able to crush that iron metal also. And finally he thought that he killed Bhima. So, but the anger was out at that time. So those people who don't react at the same time but still hold on to the anger inside, that is also not good. It's just an example of a spring. You have seen the spring? Normally we see in the ball pens, we see that spring. When you suppress the spring, it keeps on getting suppressed, right? But the moment you release it, it goes nowhere. It's very hard even to find. It just bounces itself, right? So that's the condition of an implosive anger, which is again not good. So such people are not able to handle the relationships. They cannot make good relationships. And there's a beautiful saying that relationships do not die a natural death. They are basically murdered by uncontrolled anger, which is driven by false ego. So such people cannot handle the relationships. They always have bad relationships, those who carry this implosive anger. The next is that those people also have some physical problems and diseases. We all know that even as per the medical science, that there are so many cells which are being destroyed when we are angry, right? So in an explosive anger, the words have come out. The person himself feels relaxed, though he has killed the other person with his harsh words, but himself or herself, that person feels relaxed. But in an implosive anger, it's always burning inside, right? So that person doesn't have a good physical health. Then that person even loses the focus and concentration. And then finally, the intelligence gets blinded. So for this, we know there is a beautiful, famous verse in Bhagavad Gita. Dhayato vishayam pumsham sangaste shubjayate sangat sanjayate kama kamat krodha vijayate. What he is saying? When contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment lust develops, and then from lust anger. And then what happened? Krodha bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibrama, smriti brahmasad buddhi nasho, buddhi nashat pranashyati. That means what happened? That now this anger which has been there, the delusion arises. Because of this anger, the complete delusion arises. And from delusion, bewilderment of memory. And that's why I say, when the bewilderment of memory means that person loses all kind of focus and concentration. And then what happened? When the memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. That person's intelligence gets blinded away. And then what happened? And then when intelligence is lost, he is fall down again into this material pool. So these are some negative connotations of anger. So we saw how the positive connotations came up and then how the negative connotations came up. Now we'll spend another 5-10 minutes on what is the solution to prevent this uncontrolled anger. Positive anger is okay, right? Because we are using it for a higher purpose. But how to control? What is the solution to control this uncontrolled anger? The first and the first solution is that we have to understand that whatever situation is coming up, whatever people are there in relation to us, they are because of our own karmic reaction. If we understand this, half of the battle is won. We will not be able to feel like angry or to anyone, right? So the place we are born, the parents we have, the siblings we have, the children we have, the spouse we have, these are all the reasons for us to get angry. Sometimes siblings provoke us. Sometimes children provoke us. Sometimes there is a fight between husband and wife. Sometimes there is a fight between parents and children. So these are all the reasons for us to getting angry. But if we understand that all these people were not of mine, it was not being given to me, but it is of my choice. Right. It was my karmic reaction because of which, my karma, because of which I got a particular type of parents, particular type of siblings, particular type of a spouse, and particular type of children. Right. Then whom I'm getting angry to? It's my own karmic reaction. Nobody else is responsible to it. If we understand that, half of the battle is won. So the first is that I have to understand, that we have to understand that it is because of our own karmic reaction. The second is we have to understand that whenever we get angry, our perspective is, I am innocent, another one is the culprit. The arrow goes always this way. Mine is towards the tail part and the head part is towards the other person. We always say, I am right, she or he is wrong. I am innocent, he or she is the culprit. Now try to reverse that arrow. Let the tail of the arrow be onto the other person and let the head point out to us. And when we reverse that arrow, we diffuse that grudge, because then we see fault in us rather seeing fault in others. Right? Then we see the fault in us. That yes, no, if I am trying to be innocent, okay, now let me realize the situation. Okay, if that person is saying something, after all, whatever that person is saying, something is right. I'm really that kind of person. So then we take it up. That is what is known as healthy criticism. When somebody criticizes, take it as a healthy criticism and try to improve ourselves. That is the another way we can have a controlled anger. So the third reason that leads us is to this only, that we have to learn from those circumstances that has provoked us and brought anger in us. So we have to learn. If somebody is criticizing us, giving us feedback, we have to self-judge ourselves. That yes, there is something in me also that provoked another person, and because of which that person brought frustration in me. So it was all started from me, right? So I have to reform and change myself. So take it as a healthy criticism. The fourth way is to disconnect our mind, intelligence, and ego. And when we disconnect, especially our subtle body, that is mind, intelligence, ego, then we can deal with that anger very nicely. Otherwise, it is very difficult to deal with it. Now, yeah, and the last one, the fifth one is don't speak. At the time when we are angry, we should not speak. Consciously try that I am not going to speak a word. Try to aloof yourself, isolate yourself at that moment. It is very necessary. Whenever angry, do not speak. Because when we speak, when we are angry, just realize it that it will be going to be the best speech of our life, and on which we are going to regret in our future. That's true. It is going to be the best speech of our life. So basically, delay that time. Bring that gap between the frustration and our reaction. So how to bring that gap? Now that is the most important thing, because if that gap is created between the frustration and our reaction to it, if that gap is created, that's it. I think so 90% of the battle is won, right? But how to create that gap? So that gap we have to learn from, again, from the nature. We'll come back to the example of a nature where we see that there is a plant. You all must remember, there is a plant known as touch me not plant. So what happens? When you touch the plant, immediately the leaves of the plant get closed. Isn't it? So what is happening? the stimulus is there. And what is the stimulus? The touching. Our touching to the plant is stimulus. So the stimulus is touching, and response is that the leaves are getting closed. So in the same way, stimulus is words and actions that hurt our ego, right? And then response is anger. If somebody says some words, it hurts our ego, right? So that's why I say just get yourself aloof. Disconnect your mind, intelligence, and ego from that harsh word. And then the response that is, which is anger, will come late. Create a gap, right? When we create a gap, then what will happen? We will immediately not respond. Now, how to create a gap? Some people say that whenever some frustration or some harsh words come up, you should you should count from 1 to 10, right? Some say that you can just drink a glass of water. It may or it may not work, because sometimes when somebody says some angry words, some harsh words, and you feel so angry and you say, just, okay, today I'm going to count from 1 to 10, and then 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, nothing happened. And again, you just throw your harsh words, So sometimes, I'm not saying it doesn't work. It may not work. But the foolproof process that works is that materially we cannot create that gap. We have to understand that in material sense there is no way, but it can be created by our spiritual practice. And the most profound spiritual practice is meditation. And the most effective meditation is mantra meditation. So when we chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, then we get empowered from the Supreme Personality, from the Vaishnavas, from the spiritual master, and we are able to create that gap, which is really important. The gap between the words of frustration and our reaction to it. If we don't react at that moment, if we create the gap, and in that gap we analyze the situation and we see the situation as it is, then we can delay it, and then we can have a controlled anger. We can always control our anger. The last but not the least point that I've already mentioned, chant the Mahamantra. It is a form of a prayer. If nothing, the solution works, none of the solution works, then the only solution that works is to pray to the Lord. Oh Lord, please empower me so that I may have control on this anger. I am able to forgive another person, right? I am able to see fault in my own self. Please help me. I am the soul surrendered unto you. If we make that kind of prayer, then Krishna will definitely help. That is the only best solution if none of the solution works. So this comes when we are angry, right? And how we can have a controlled anger and how we can solve it. But now the situation may arise when someone else is angry with us, right? We are not angry, but when somebody else is angry on us, then we have to understand that what 3 things we don't have to do is we should not curb their anger. Let them say, let the words may come out from their mouth if somebody else is angry. Let them say whatever they want to say. The soda bottle, when you shake a soda bottle, you see so many fizz inside it, right? So similarly, the person who is angry with us has so much inside that lava is burning in his or her heart. So let that come out. Don't try to curb another's anger. Let that come out. Don't mock on them. If you are angry, if they are doing certain things, I'll reciprocate in the same way. No. And don't try to mirror their action. Okay, if that person is saying, I'll say the same thing. If that person is doing something which is making me angry, I'll do the same thing so that that person gets angry. So we should not try to mirror their action. What we have to do is the first step is to listen. Listen to that person who is very angry with us. The second step is listen. Listen to that person. Let those harsh words may come out. Let that burning lava from another person may come out. And the third thing is listen. So all the time is listen, listen, listen. When you listen to that person who is angry to us, and when we allow the anger from another person to come out completely from their heart, then we can add on some information that, oh, you know what you said? Actually, I mean in this manner. In that way, we can come up with some constructive arguments. Otherwise, it is all, always it's anger, anger, anger. So never try to stop somebody else's anger, and rather direct it into a right way. So that is how we can handle if another person is angry. There was a brahmachari, and there was another person in the temple who came up and he wanted to sing some bhajan. Okay? So as soon as he came, he just grabbed the mic, was trying to grab a mic, and another person in the same temple said, "Hey, don't touch the mic." He just immediately said, "Hey, don't touch the mic." That person felt so offended that he went to a brahmachari and he said, "See, I'm not going to sing in this temple ever, and rather I'm not going to come into this temple ever." So that brahmachari said, Why? What happened? See, I was singing, I was about to sing a bhajan, and I was trying to take up this mic, and the other person said, "Hey, don't touch the mic," as if the mic is his property. So I'm not going to come, and I really felt offended. So that brahmachari said, okay, you are angry, and you are angry on that person. He called the another person, and he said, "See, this person has really felt offended. Have you said such words?" So he said, "Yeah, I said that, don't touch the mic." And then he said, "But why?" He said, "Because there was some earthing problem. If he would have touched the mic, he would have got some circuit short." So if he would have listened to that person, the situations would have been different. So that should be our mood. If somebody is angry, if somebody said something, analyze the situation. So he just assumed that person is not allowing to touch him the mic. He would have simply asked, "Why? What happened, Prabhu?" Then he must have clarified it, that, "Prabhu, this mic has a shock." He said it in a very explosive manner because he wants to create it so that he doesn't touch the mic. Because the moment that person would have touched the mic, he would have got a shock. Right? So that's why he said, "Hey, don't touch the mic." Right? But if he would have clarified the situation, the things would have been different. So this is how we have to analyze the situation. We have to try to sort it there and then, rather, having that implosive anger in us, that, "Oh, I'm now burning I don't speak, but I'm still burning inside." That should not be the mood. So here, same thing. Dhruva Maharaj is really angry. But Swayambhu Manu is saying that, no, this is not the right way. You have to control your anger, right? And when you control your anger, then, because if you don't control, it may become a source of dread for all others. So better to control your anger. And Prabhupada is giving the example of Jesus Christ. We know how he was crucified, but still he forgave those. Of course, he was on a different platform. We are not. And we don't need to imitate all our acharyas too, but we can aspire, we can pray so that we can follow into their footsteps and have a controlled anger so that we can use this anartha in the service of the Supreme Personality. So thank you all so much. To this note, I'll end up. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So let's see if we have any questions, any comments, corrections, additions, reflections. We can take up them. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Kirtida Sundari Mataji. What a beautiful class. It just encapsulated everything. It was so nice. The positive connotations, negative connotations, solution, and connecting it back to the verse, Srimad Bhagavatam verse. Very, very beautiful. I really like the solution of turning the arrow. It's also very humbling to the ego. So I was thinking that's an amazing solution. Thank you so much, Mataji, for all the effort that you have put in, the way you have presented the class. It was simply beautiful. And as I always say, when you speak, I feel like I should listen. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Preeti Vilasini Mataji, for always encouraging me through your kind words. I don't deserve them, but thank you so much. Our glories to Guru our guides.
Hare Krishna, it's Kirtida Sundari Mataji, Koti Koti Danpat Pranam. Today's lecture is not for you, that is specially for me, Mataji. When whether it's in office or whether it's in house, when our fault is not there and somebody is screaming on us, so it's very painful. Or our colleagues we make a project and somebody will take all the credits. It's very painful for us, and without reason. Yes, if we make mistakes and somebody will angry, we are accepting very sincerely. But when our fault is not there, and in our house or in our office, when somebody is screaming, so that is very painful situation. So today's lecture is especially for me, that how we have to patiently bear that situation. Dandavad Pranam, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev Ki Jai. Thank you very much for necessary class.
Thank you so much, Vrinda Gopika Mataji. This class has helped you. I'm so glad that I was able to deliver something good. Thank you so much.
Yes, Kirtida Sundari Mataji, Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani will come with the devotee, and they will explain, they will give an answer what is going on in our mind. So thank you very much, Kirtida Sundari Mataji, for today's association. Right time, right answer.
Glory to your sincerity, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Kirtida Sundari Mataji. Very nicely systematic explanation about the anger and how to control and everything. It's very, very nice. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kamaraki Mataji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Okay. Yeah, Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yeah, I'm sorry, Mataji. You can go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Mataji. Very, very beautiful class, Mataji. Yeah, that anger, first, the one point I really like is like we are in that situation because we have chosen or because of our karma. If we are anger at other person and shouting, oh, why this situation came to me, because of this, because you how much ever you shout, you throw your words all on them, nothing can be changed because we have chosen because of our karma. That really touched my heart, Mataji. This because when you get anger, you try to remove it by shouting at others, but that is the situation, right? Because of our karma. The way you explained was very nice, Mataji. Thank you so much. Each and everything, like especially when you are talking about hear what other person is speaking. That is really true, Mataji. When we hear it, then we understand whose mistake is there, and we'll be calmed down and we'll be sometimes silent, and then the reaction might be changed from our side also. That was very nice points, Mataji. I really liked your class, and I really needed this class, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Vanya Mataji. And glory to your sincerity.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, and Dandavat Pranam and glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Like everybody says that class is for them. Just like that, whatever you are saying, just I was thinking to how to control the anger, especially with the kids. You are telling you here. Means that is actually very helpful for me, because sometimes, oh, you should not, when kids are angry, we are telling them, or you should not tell back, you should not be angry, or you should not say anything to your parents. We just justify it like that. But when we listen their problem, we can solve their problem. That is very good for me, Mataji. And also, Mataji, you have you said that in the class about 3 kinds of anger. Yes, first because of the controlling power, we become angry with other person, and second is enjoying nature, and third is everything we need to be perfect. That's why that is happening for me. Sometimes we want from our kids everything perfect, and become angry. Can you give some idea, Mataji? Because we try to control also. We should be angry only to change, to give something good things, but we should not be over angry. Yes. Can you give some idea, Mataji?
Yes, thank you so much, Anjana Gopika Mataji. First of all, as you said, that controlling the kids. So while when we are disciplining the kids, it is a healthy anger. But again, it should be controlled way. It should not be just we throw our words or our actions to them. So that should not be the mood. And yes, regarding the perfectionist, I said we all want everything to be picture perfect. But again, how we can deal with it is that we have to understand that nobody is perfect, right? So only Krishna is perfect. So if we have that kind of understanding, we can deal up with the situation. And regarding for the kids, I'll just tell you about my example. Sometimes, my son's room is also messy. So always I try to tell him, see, you should not be that kind of messy. Try to clean up your room. And when you go in the morning to school, try to make your bed, and then, you can go to school. It's not that I can't do his work, because I'm at home, and of course I can, as a duty bound, I can clean up his room or I can make up his bed. It's not that that I'm asking him to do. It's just to teach him, because kids will be in their own world later on, right? And they have to imbibe what they have learned, right? So just to explain them, just to discipline them. Sometimes I just don't enter into his room. I say, I'm not going to enter, I'm not going to clean, and sometimes I have to show up my anger. That if you do this, these are the consequences you have to bear, right? So in that case, I want everything to be neat. It's not that perfect, because sometimes sometimes my room is also not that clean, right? So we have to understand that we are not perfectionists. We are not seeing perfection in everything, but we are disciplining them. We are disciplining our children so that they can improve. And for their improvement, even if we are showing some anger, it's a healthy anger, because it's for the higher purpose. All right. You got your point, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. So many times it happens with the kids, but we should listen them also and same time.
Yeah, if the kids are not, suppose if the small kids, they are not taking care of their toys and they are throwing here and there, mom's duty is to take up those toys and put it in the basket, clean the area. But till when? Just to teach them, sometimes we have to let go the things. Okay, these toys are there, they're scattered all over, let them. But I'll have to teach my son, my children, my daughter that yes, you have to take care of toys, and let them do their work. Let them do their work in arranging their books, their stuff, their toys, their things, so that they can learn. So that way we can always say that, see, I want this perfection and you should do it. So just to teach them, yes, it's okay.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. It's a very, very beautiful class. I should listen again, Mataji.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you for this very, very relevant discussion on anger for myself. There are just a couple of things. One is, I just want to actually, I think, confirm my understanding. One is when you were that part of your talk when you were saying the different methods that we have of creating distance between, the stimulus of our anger and our reaction to it. You were mentioning that some techniques are like counting to 10, maybe taking deep breaths, But then you said that the most effective way is to have, strong sadhana or japa, right?
Yes, Mataji.
And so when we count to 10 or take deep breaths, and we see that maybe that doesn't necessarily have the instant result that we're looking for. But then if we're doing our japa on a daily basis, so that has a technique, japa as a technique for controlling anger. Isn't it that we might not see instant results for that either? Is that something that we just have to be using japa as a technique is something that we have to exercise patience with, because we might be doing our japa and might even be doing it very nicely, but we might still experience that the anger is not getting controlled the way we would like. So with japa, is it not something that will require some patience to see the result?
Yeah, I got your question, Mataji. So japa is not, you can say, I'll not say that japa is the tool to control your anger. That if you have a solid japa, only then, if you have a really sincere japa, then you'll be able to control. It may be yes and no. But see, it's not that, I'll do my japa and I'm doing my japa, still I'm not able to control my anger. While doing japa, we are praying to the divine couple that help us, engage us in your service, and also praying to remove the anarthas in our heart, right? So now this japa has to be really a sincere and concentrated japa. It may not be that, I'll say that if I'm not getting angry, that means my japa is good. I'll not say that. Because when we are doing, even if it is not 100% sincere or concentrated japa, but still the mood of doing the japa, the mood of doing that prayer will help us to remember Krishna at the time when we need him the most. Right? Like I said, some people count from 1 to 10. Now, it may help taking a deep breath. It may help taking a glass of water. It may help. But taking the glass of water, taking a deep breath, counting from 1 to 10, while we are angry and while other is throwing the words of frustration on us, that power of doing all those things also comes from the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, our intelligence is lost at that time. But our intelligence comes into action only and only if that intelligence is sharpened by a sincere japa. Right? At that time when we need the most, when somebody is really irritating us, frustrating us, and we have to curb our anger, at that time our intelligence is the only thing which is guided by Krishna, which is guided by our sincere japa, will inspire us that, okay, take a deep breath and try to make a japa. Otherwise, it will not help us because our intelligence is already bewildered, right? But if that intelligence is sharpened by the Supreme Lord through a sincere japa, only that will allow us to get focused. And at that time, when we need the most, that time Krishna will inspire us that, okay, then you will be able to say, okay, let me chant one round, and then I'll come back and talk to you. Or let me just let go the situation right now, and we'll analyze it later, and we'll come back. Or let me just don't speak right now. Let me just aloof myself or isolate myself. Or sometimes we may think that, okay, if that person has spoken, let him, maybe it's my karma. So these all thoughts will come up when we have some or the other kind of spiritual practice. If we don't have any kind of spiritual practice, so then we are just an ordinary materialistic man when we just throw an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. But all these things will come up when we have some kind of spiritual practice. So in that case, japa, the mantra meditation that we do, will help us, will empower us.
Okay. Yeah, so you're saying that the japa helps to sharpen our intelligence. In the heat of that anger, we can see things more clearly. But at the same time, you said that you wouldn't see japa as a tool for curbing anger.
Yeah, because it's not, I mean to say that it's not that it's a directly proportional thing that, oh, my japa is sincere, so I'll be less angry. And if my japa means, like, I just cannot say that, sometimes the situation comes up that I just try to ignore it. I don't get angry at that time. It's not that I don't say that it's because I'm doing my sincere japa. I'll not say that I'm very good at japa. I'm really doing my 16 rounds with full concentration, and that's why, I'm able to control the situation. But yes, at the same time, I'll give credit to my japa that whatever spiritual practice I am having, it's because of that only that I am able to sometimes control my anger. But then if sometimes I don't control my anger, then also I don't just blame that, oh, I'm chanting, I'm doing this, I'm doing deity worship, still I'm not able to control my anger. What is the use of this spiritual practice? Then also I don't blame it. So it's not that. You got this point?
Yes, that was really helpful, Mataji. Thank you so much. Can I just squeeze in one? I think I just had one last question. Something you said that I missed.
Go ahead.
You mentioned 3 sources of anger, or 3, Anyway, one was like, if you have a nature that you just want to be a controller, like you said, control freak, right?
Yeah.
And then another source is if you want to get enjoyment out of everything, you want to see everything in terms of your enjoyment.
Yeah.
Which, and then was the third one a desire for perfectionism, or was it something else?
Perfectionist. It's perfectionist. Those who want to see everything picture perfect. Those people really get angry when agitated. Yeah.
Actually, that reminds me of I don't know if it's a question or a comment, but when you were speaking of using anger versus being controlled by anger and disciplining children, for especially when you're trying to discipline children for a higher purpose, for their own sake, for the sake of the welfare of the child, I just find that it can be a little bit of a challenge to, or there's like a fine line between using your anger for the sake of the child's welfare and indulging in our own anger because of our own personal desire. For example, use the example of wanting the child to keep his environment, his room clean and orderly. So, we want the child to do that so that, he's in a more sattvic environment.
Yeah, I got your point.
But at the same time, it's so hard to not be angry because we ourselves want to see, the place looking neat, And so it's like difficult to walk that fine line,
Yes, I got your point, Mataji. That's true. That's what I said, that we have to understand that even we are not perfect. But just to train them, it's not that at the first shot we throw our words or we just get angry. First of all, we always try to say it politely. Okay, then little hard. And if still they don't listen, then we can, use a little bit of anger to discipline them. And that too, it's not that beating them up left and right, but just to tell them, okay, if you are going to do this, and this is the consequences you are going to bear, and I'm not going to talk to you or whatsoever. But at the same time, like you said, we just don't throw our anger. It's not that if I am annoyed with my spouse and because my spouse made me angry and I cannot retaliate back to him, so that anger got transferred to my children. That should not be the case. That anger is just you are taking somebody else's anger and throwing it on somebody else. So that should not be the mood. That is really wrong. But just to discipline children, if we are using a little bit of anger, and in spite of that, talking nicely to them, first of all, but then they are not listening. They're requesting, still they are not listening, and then you are showing anger, is a healthy way. It's a healthy anger, but again, it should be in a controlled way.
Yeah, but you see, even then, when you're getting angry because they're not listening, there again I find a fine line, because are you becoming harsher because, is it all because of the child welfare, or is it because of our controlling tendency? We want this to be this way, and because the child is not.
It's not the controlling tendency with the children, Mataji, because there we have an authority, right? So as an authority, because if we will not teach them, then who will teach them? The world will teach in a very different manner by abusing them, that you are such kind of person. Right? If the attitude of children is not good, the world will teach the right attitude, but in a wrong fashion. So it's the duty of a parent. It's the duty of a spiritual master. Sometimes we see the spiritual master is angry to, his or her disciple. A spiritual master gets angry, but that anger is for the benefit of the spiritual master. It's for the benefit of the disciple, right? So similarly, because the spiritual master has an authority, so that spiritual master can really get angry on his disciple. Similarly, we the parents have the authority so that we can teach our children. If we will not teach them, the world will teach them in a wrong way. So that, it will teach them. It's not that if I'll not teach my son how to behave properly or how to have a proper nice attitude, the world will teach that attitude. Definitely, when he'll go out to work, the work environment, the office environment, the colleagues will teach him. But that time he may feel more insulted. But right now, before he goes to work, if I teach him the right attitude to approach people, then I think so it's much more healthier. So seeing that, again I told you that it depends upon the authority. If we have the authority on someone, then it's okay that we can be angry so that we can do their welfare.
Okay, Mataji, that was nice. Thank you. I know it's getting late, and I your answer just now just inspired one very last question, if you don't mind, if I can just squeeze it.
Yes, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's a little bit tangential to our discussion, but you were talking about the anger of authority upon the subordinate. So especially when it comes to guru-disciple relationship, when we are the object of anger, when we are receiving the anger from an authority, I think most of us know that can be an extremely painful experience. to the heart, And so my question is, even though intellectually you can understand, this authority figure is only exhibiting that anger for the sake of my welfare, but still the heart has different experience. It can feel like a lack of or a dearth of love. Intellectually we might understand that it is, out of love, but the heart, which is what we feel most poignantly, is feeling as though it's a dearth of love. So how to overcome this feeling when we are
again? See, that's what Bhagavad Gita always says: the mind and intelligence and ego. These are the three subtle things, right, of which this material body is made up of. So when the spiritual master is chastising us, the first and the foremost thing we have to, intellectually, as you said, that we understand that it is for our benefit, and the spiritual master has the authority because we are his disciple. Disciple in Sanskrit and Hindi is spelled Shishya. Shishya means Shashan. A person who can be disciplined by the spiritual master is known as the disciple, right? So first, intellectually, yes, we understood. Mind, heart, again, this is the weakness of our heart, that we don't understand, because this weakness of our heart comes up when our intelligence is not guided. If our intelligence is guided and we see that, yes, if intellectually we know that the spiritual master is chastising us for my benefit, then I don't think so the question of heart comes in. Because the intelligence is the most superior. If that intelligence is being guided correctly and is saying that, yes, that person has the right authority to chastise me, and that person is doing it for my own benefit, then the heart doesn't play a role. Heart play a role for the kids. When it comes with the kids and the parents, right, then the heart plays a role. Though the kids, especially the smaller kids, don't expect them that, they know that my mom and my dad has an authority, and so they are chastising me, they are punishing me for my benefit. No, they'll not understand. They are younger kids. It's very hard for us to understand what can we expect from the small kids. So for that, the love plays a role. And for the older kids, even they know that, yes, my mom has authority and she is telling me to do something for my benefit, then also maybe the heart, his or her, the children's heart may feel bad, but then it's our responsibility that once the job is done, we try to appreciate them, right? When this appreciation comes, that love of heart comes back. They understood that at that time when my mom said, though my heart was feeling bad, but intellectually my intelligence was saying that my mom is right, but still my heart was bad. But immediately when the work is done, and if you pamper or you just love or you just pat on his shoulder that you did a good job, that words will heal up that heart, But for the spiritual master case, that relationship between a spiritual master and disciple, you just cannot expect that once you have done the things in a right way, and then you expect that now my spiritual master should come and tell me that, oh, good job, you did a really good job and I am so impressed with you. You cannot expect from that. Example is being given that when you jump a red light, then you get a ticket from a policeman because he has an authority to give you the ticket. But those red lights at which you have stopped and you have not jumped, at that time you don't expect a police to come and say, oh, you did a good job, you stopped at the red light. No, you don't. Even your heart feels hard, irrespective of your heart, you feel bad or what, but he has the authority to control you, he has the authority to correct you, and so he gave you the ticket once you have jumped the red light, irrespective of what you are feeling. So similarly, the spiritual master, whatever you are feeling, spiritual master has to chastise you if you have done something wrong, but don't expect in return that the spiritual master will come and then again pat you or encourage you that you have done a good job. At that time, your intelligence should be sharpened enough that he is the authority to control me, he is the authority to guide me, and take that chastisement as a blessing of a spiritual master.
Yeah, but there should be experience of love also between spiritual master and disciple.
The chastisement of a spiritual master is an appreciation, is an expression of love. Right? The more you are getting chastisement from the spiritual master, that means the more the spiritual master wants you to be disciplined. That means it's an appreciation of love. It's an expression of love. So just remember this, that the chastisement of a spiritual master is an expression of love towards his disciple.
Okay. And I guess the spiritual master has to also know his disciple well enough to understand how much chastisement
exactly
the disciple can tolerate.
Of course he knows how much he or she can handle. After all, that's why he is a spiritual master. That's why we have surrendered unto him. If we are getting hurt by his words, though intellectually we know, but in our heart if we are getting hurt from his words, that means we have not fully surrendered unto him. That's the sign of our surrenderance. Our surrenderance should be 100%, no matter my spiritual, like that Shashtam, what does it say? Ashlishya va padam ranasuma, right? Even if you just embrace me with a broken hearted, but still, oh Lord, you are my unconditional Lord, life after life. Even if you just throw me, or even if you chastise me left, right, center, still you will be my spiritual master, life after life.
Yeah, but I can see that a person can, it seems to me that you can feel both hurt and surrendered.
Maybe somebody else can add to this point, but as far as I feel is that if we have get hurt by the words of the spiritual master, that means we are not 100% surrendered. Our 100% surrenderance shows that yes, whatever comes from my spiritual master, I'll accept it. Maybe somebody else can add it to this point.
Yeah, maybe, because it just seems to me that you can accept something because you understand that it's in your best interest, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to feel hurt, even though you accept it as true. I don't know. But anyway, Mataji, all that you've explained, I accept all that you have.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandot Pranam. Very, very beautiful class and very, very nice question answer session, Mataji. Thank you so much for practically giving so many points that we can follow. Can I add some points in this?
Of course, Lalitangi Mataji. I'll be really obliged if you can add up.
It's true that what you said is that the relationship between spiritual master and disciple is so unique. And guru means a person who's heavy. So we can see that all disciples of Srila Prabhupada, they share the moments of chastisement more than what they have been appreciated. I think Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj writes about it somewhere, that how Srila Prabhupada had praised him a lot for preaching in the African American countries and among devotees there in that community. But he says that the moments that he was chastised, that he remembers long, and is very grateful for that. So that's only a person who is taking responsible, because spiritual master has taken responsible on behalf of us and he has promised to Krishna that this person will come back to you, and I guarantee that. So that's a huge responsibility. Who will take that responsibility? Only a person who loves us unconditionally, and then that path is not so easy. Every day there is so many things coming up from so many corners of our life and interactions. So we are very, very grateful if we can get chastised by the spiritual master.
Thank you so much, Lalitanji Mataji, for adding. Thank you. Gaurangi Mataji, still if it is not clear, maybe we can take your question.
No. This was all good. This was very helpful. Yeah. Everything that was said was very helpful. Thank you. So much. Especially the fact that that chastisement is an expression of love. I think a person has to be in the right psychological state of mind to be able to absorb it in that way.
Thank you so much. Okay, it's already 9 o'clock EST. So if no more questions, can
thank you so much. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mataji, for such a wonderful session today. I'm really grateful to you. We're really looking forward to having your association again in future. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, obeisances to all the Vaishnavas, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha,
Kirtida Sundari Mataji.